Got hope? Here's how you can create hope on demand. I'm Dr. Paul Jenkins, the positivity psychologist. Now, you've heard it forever, just think positive. But we have to get past the trite, fluffy, just think positive that you hear from motivational speakers to how your brain actually works. Here's how you can create hope on demand. Before I show you the psychology behind this, let's establish why this is so important. Did you know that hopelessness is the #1 predictive cause of suicide? Hopelessness, which means that hope becomes one of the primary preventative or curative factors for people who are struggling with suicidal thoughts or behaviors. Knowing how to create hope on demand could literally save lives. And I know lives that it has saved. To understand the psychology behind hope, notice first that you can think about your own thinking. Now be careful with this, you can hurt yourself. But thinking will drive our behavior. What is it that drives our thinking? When you think about your own thinking, this is what we call metacognition in psychology. It's the ability to actually pause and look at our own thinking. And this thinking happens in several different modes. One of those modes we call creation mode. This is when your brain is anticipating and thinking about and trying to create what is to be. Now, you've heard the phrase, "it is what it is," which can be kind of annoying depending on who's saying it and why. But all it means is the way things are right now. As you think about your thinking, notice that that's all you've got. I'm not saying it's all you could have. We're getting to that. But it's all you've got. It's the starting place for what is to be. Now, next I would invite you to notice this. You don't know. You don't know what's coming. How are you doing next week? You don't know. Now, you've got guesses, and you might have even had an answer to that. When I ask this to some of my audiences or clients, they'll often respond back with, "Oh, I'm doing great next week," right? Because they want to have this positive attitude. But the point is they don't know. Now, you've got something to do with it. Please don't forget that. But you don't know. So all you can do at this point is to imagine what is to be. You can think about or predict or anticipate what's coming, but you don't really know. Now, what we're doing right now is metacognition. We're thinking about our thinking. We're noticing that we don't really know what's coming, but we're predicting it all the time. Make a mental note of that and notice that you're constantly predicting. Now, the next thing I would invite you to notice is that you can always, now my editor tells me to always avoid the word always and never use the word never, but I just used it. You can always imagine something better than what it is right now. You can also imagine something worse. Is this true? Now, don't take my word for it. I want you to run it through your own filters and see if this is true, that you can always imagine something better than what you've already got. And you can imagine something worse. Maybe this graphic will help. As you think about creation mode, here on this line, it is what it is. In creation mode, we can always imagine something better, and we can always imagine something worse. So where does hopelessness come from? When we are imagining what is to be, and we are predicting that what's coming is even worse than what we already have, how do we feel? In this graphic, the arrow is the direction of your prediction or your anticipation, what you're imagining is coming. And when that points over to something worse, I put a little negative sign in there and colored it red just to remind you that this is where hopelessness begins. It's really the source of anxiety too. Do you notice that? When you imagine or predict or expect that what's coming is even worse than what you already have, you feel anxiety. Now that's 30 years of clinical experience in a nutshell. Notice it. I'm inviting you to see it. You don't even have to change it. Look, I'm not here to tell you how to think. I don't have that kind of authority. I want you to see that you are thinking and that your thinking has an impact on how you feel. How you feel is energy, and energy precedes outcome. So what's going to happen next week? How are you doing next month or next year? You don't know, but you are predicting or expecting or anticipating something, and if you think it's going to be worse, you will feel anxiety, I promise. And that leads to hopelessness. Notice it. Before we move on, you might appreciate having a copy of the full model that I'm referring to in these graphics. I'd be happy to put one in your inbox. Just go to the URL on the screen right now, drpauljenkins.com/themodel. That's all one word. Go to that URL and I will give you a full color copy of the whole model. You're welcome. Now go back to that prediction for a minute. What happens when we predict or anticipate or expect that what's coming is even better than what we've already got? How do we feel? Going back to the model, the arrow, that green arrow that you see, is the direction of your anticipation, your prediction, your imagination of what is to be. And when you imagine that it's going to be better, that plus sign and the green color that I've given it is the feeling or the energy that you have when you imagine or predict or expect that what's coming for you is even better than what you already have. How do we define that feeling? Well, it's excitement, right? Or anticipation or hope. When you look at that whole creation mode, it is what it is. What you've already got is what it is. And that's your starting point. Where are we going from here? We don't know. But we are imagining or predicting or expecting. Now, as you look at this graphic, you have a choice. You don't always get to choose what it is. What do you get to choose? The direction that you anticipate or expect things to go. You get to choose that. Since you don't know. I said earlier, I don't have the authority to tell you how to think. I want you to see that you are, and that thinking makes a difference and will create the energy that you will use to move forward and create what is to be. That doesn't exist yet. We haven't created it yet. I invite you to see that that is your choice. Since you don't know, choose. And if you were to choose intentionally, you can create hope on demand. Did you find that useful? And are you ready to get your copy of that model? I'm eager to send it to you. Go to that URL, drpauljenkins.com/themodel. I'll put it right in your inbox, and then you'll have a reference for what we talked about today about how to create hope on demand.